Welcome to All Gen Gamers, a podcast for people in video games of all generations. Starring Pete Dorr, Happy Console Gamer, Gamester81, and Jason Heine. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? Welcome to episode 52, right? 52? Welcome
53 for crying out loud.
Welcome to episode 53. This is the All Gen Gamers podcast, by the way, and I'm one of your co-hosts, Jason Heine from Emulator Review on YouTube. We are joined by the luscious, voluptuous, lovable Gamester81. What's up, John?
Hey.
We're also joined by happiest man on YouTube, Happy Console Gamer. What's up, Johnny, Mr. Millennium?
Hey, what's up, guys?
And of course, everyone's good friend, Mr. RPG himself, Pete Dorr. What's up, Pete?
Not too much.
And I want to address this right off the bat. I want to say that what we're doing now is we are doing a two-parter here. So this episode is going to be part one, right? And then next week, right, we're doing the second part of it, right? Or how are we doing?
Which will make it part two.
Right, for next week.
Well, we're recording part two right after this, but we're going to release it a week after this episode.
It's confusing. So
It is confusing.
When we're recording this, they probably won't hear it for another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, right?
The second part of it.
I'm confused. You lost me, Jason.
And it's very unfortunate because it's all my fault.
It is true.
It is my fault with my moving schedule. So, I totally apologize. I'm really sorry for everyone.
Yeah, the reason why we got to do this is because Jason will not be here. He'll actually be moving, so this is the only way we'll actually be able to get 2 episodes out in a row, or we wouldn't. We'll be back to the same formula as episode 1, which wouldn't be a great thing. Depending. Some people like that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So just bear with us and hang tight with us, so we appreciate that.
And we're doing the back-to-back so we don't skip a week.
Exactly.
Basically.
There's either no podcast or a two-parter, so we're doing it that way. So, okay, on to the main event. Ladies and gentlemen, we have joining us today somebody very special. I have a song queued up to bring him in.
I love this song.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have joining us today Chris Bizzell. Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
And I pronounced your last name right.
You did. A lot of people think it's Bizzle ever since the Snoop Dogg thing happened, which is great.
Chris Bizzle for shizzle.
Yeah, I get a lot of that. So luckily I'm not in school anymore, so that I got to miss a lot of that.
Yeah, well, that's nice. Well, definitely thanks for joining us. And for everyone who didn't know what this wonderful song was here, that is the intro and one of the songs that's featured on the Killer Instinct Killer Cuts CD. What we're doing today is we're going to be talking about Killer Instinct, and we've talked about it here and there because I'm a big KI fan, but today we're actually going to be doing a dedicated episode on it specifically because, well, Chris, he runs and is the owner and admin of KillerInstinctOnline.net. To tell you the truth, I feel that, Chris, your website is the most comprehensive, easy to navigate, and just has the most information right there up front site that I've ever been to. So I know I speak for a lot of Killer Instinct fans. I know a lot of them are out there and have visited the site, and it's definitely a wonderful place. So thanks so much for even creating something like that for all of us.
Well, thank you very much. And I mean, I am not a web designer in any way. My wife kind of made fun of me when I told her the idea I was going to make it. I was sitting there at work and I said, I think I'm going to make a Killer Instinct site. And she said, the most you know is how to do like MySpace graphics. That was back when MySpace was all special. So most of the site is all HTML and I typed every bit of it out on every single page. It was a real pain. So
when did you start the site?
That is a good question. I don't remember the exact date, but I think it was around May 2006. So it's been around a little while now. Let me check the forum here. That might tell me, but I do believe it was around May 2006. Yeah,
and that's kind of what I wanted to get into is how did this start? What was the concept behind it? Why did you decide to do it? Just give us a little backstory. I know it's a fan site, but why don't you break down a bit of how that all started?
Well, I mean, I was a huge fan when the game came out. I remember the first time I ever saw the arcade. It was at Diversion's Game Room. If anybody is in the San Antonio area, they probably know that game room. Unfortunately, most of them are gone now. There's only one left, and it's kind of a small location. But this one was right down the street from my house. I used to go there all the time. And I remember seeing this new arcade game show up, and it didn't have the attract music playing. It was just quiet over there. And I was thinking, well, I'll drop a token. And as soon as I dropped it in and it yelled Killer Instinct at me, I actually jumped back a little bit because the sound is so good on that arcade, And I mean, I was immediately drawn in by this game. And I was probably 11 when it came out. So I was really getting into it. I mean, at the time, I wasn't that great at it. I could do some orchid combos and all that, and I started getting better. I entered a few tournaments and all that, and unfortunately, that game room closed, and a lot of them started to close, as you guys probably know in your areas, they do the same. So eventually it got to the point where I couldn't find them anymore to play. I would have to drive maybe almost 15 miles just to find one. It was usually packed with people, and it wasn't worth it anymore. I started Googling around looking for a Killer Instinct site and realized there weren't very many of them. And if they were really kind of small and didn't have all the stuff that I wanted from a Killer Instinct site. So, like I said, I was sitting at work one day and I was thinking about something to do. And I said, maybe I'll throw together a Killer Instinct site. And my wife kind of joked at me, and she reminded me of this the other day when I told her I was going to be on the show. She said, "You've got to tell them how I told you it was going to be a big failure." I said,
great support there.
Nice
Right?
support. Yeah, good support there. Huh?
Yeah, and that's not really, it's not so much because of the idea. It's just because she thought I would get into it and then forget about it and nobody would come to it and all that. And I kind of believe the same thing. For her defense there, I am a little bit of the same that way. I'd get into something and then it's like, nobody's interested and move on, But I threw together a pretty simple site initially and noticed I started getting maybe 100 people came in one day. That was amazing to me. I didn't think that would happen. So I started working it up a little bit, and I added a forum, and then all of a sudden I noticed in about a week I had 100 members, and it just kept going from there. And, as I've said before, I think I said that earlier, how I'm not a web designer and I'm not very good at that stuff. So I started kind of panicking, thinking, how can I throw a site together here? But luckily, the people who came to the site were very helpful. Everybody in the Killer Instinct community, for the most part, is very nice. And they all love the game just as much as I do, if not more. I thought I was a fan, but the people who've come to the site know 10 times more stuff about Killer Instinct than I do, really. But so they started submitting things to help me out. A fan of the site actually gave me a lot of the art. And, he pretty much gave it to where I could just upload them in there, and it just took the place of the old crappy art. So it's been very nice. The fans have really made the site pretty much what it is, because a lot of the stuff I could have never done. They've got the sound clips, they've got all kinds of artwork and sprites and stuff from the Super Nintendo version. So it's really been quite nice. So they kind of made it what it is also, and I just kind of put it in place. So
very cool.
I wanted a place where everybody could come to get Killer Instinct stuff and anything they needed for Killer Instinct, and just a one-stop spot for that.
Yeah, and I think that's what I like most about your site, is that it is very basic. Everything is right there on one page. Everything is on the left-hand side. You click the character you want to learn about. It has the moves. It has the story, the backlog. You've got media. You've got the soundboards. You've got, all sorts of stuff here. You just click on the game and boom, takes you right to it. I think it's very comprehensive, easy to navigate. And that's just one thing I really loved about it. I'm looking at your site now and your counter. You've got almost 1.2 million hits on it right now.
I know, that's what I'm looking at
just
too.
for Killer Instinct. that is huge. When you
over 10,000 members that have registered on the forum.
Wow.
That's quite impressive.
It really.
And I just want to say, the site, you can tell, has been designed. Did you design this from scratch from HTML, or did you use
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you can tell it looks like that, and I'm more of a fan of the websites that look like they're out of the late 90s, because everything today is either a blog, and I'm guilty of that. Blogs from WordPress and stuff, or websites that are like too flashy and too artsy. There's not many sites out there like this anymore.
Yeah. The only thing that was there that I got was the frame, basically, because I didn't even know how to make the tables or whatever they're called and all that. So I got that, threw it all in there, and just painstaking. That's why it hasn't had many updates. If anybody from my site is listening and wondering why it looks the same as it has for a couple of years, it's just a ton of work to go through it. So I just can't devote the time, really.
Chris, how do you advertise the site? You just kind of word of mouth, or do you?
Yeah, I initially thought I would go to the local game room here and drop off some flyers, but I really haven't had to. I've got no advertisement really at all, other than what Jason did with the EMU review for Killer Instinct. He helped bring a lot of people, but other than that, it's just, I guess, Google has been bringing them, really.
That's cool.
Yeah.
1.2 million hits only makes me think of one thing.
What's that?
So I met Chris. It's been months ago now. I reached out to him because I wanted to do a review of the game of one of my favorite fighters, Killer Instinct, for my channel, and I just took a shot in the dark. I've been on his website a long time, and I just went to the contact section, sent him an email, explained who I was, all this sort of thing, and said, "Hey, I am doing a review. Any information, and stuff you can to lend a hand. Maybe, give me some media or sounds or anything that you would like to contribute for it. That'd be awesome." And he responded right back to me and was very helpful and gave me all the content and information that I needed, and all this sort of thing. And it was really a big asset to my review. And he was kind enough to feature my video on the website there. And so that's how I met him, and just all around it was a really, really good time. So Chris, appreciate all that as well.
Well, I was glad to help. I mean, I really like your videos. I didn't know anything about you until then, honestly, but once I found it, I started watching. I love San Francisco Rush. I was looking at a lot of the your videos you've done, and you've done a lot of games that I love anyway, so I was very glad to help.
Definitely. And I guess I can break down a little bit on the backstory just of Killer Instinct itself for people who may not be aware or are interested in this. Basically, Killer Instinct, it's a fighting game developed by Rare, published by Midway and Nintendo. And I always remembered back in the day in the arcades, I said to myself, what is this amazing, loud cabinet with Nintendo on the side of it? Back in the early 90s, I'm thinking Mario, Luigi,
Donkey
Kong, all these, definitely non-violent. Definitely non-violent. And then all of a sudden there's this game where these people are beating the shit out of each other. And for, 94, I mean, you remember how it looked. It just was mind-blowing. And there were fatality type moves, and there's so much blood. And I just was blown away that this had Nintendo on. I couldn't believe it.
And they always had crowds around them. That's the one thing I always remember about the Killer Instinct games. I'd walk in, I'd go over to Street Fighter, but I'd look over and everybody was around, Killer Instinct. I was like, and the thing is, I sucked at the game. I still suck at the game. I'm terrible at it.
That's kind of the thing, though, with Killer Instinct. Here's the thing. You either, one, you love this game, or two, you hate it.
That's not true. I'm no good at the game, but I like it.
Okay. Because I've always believed that it's one or the other. I've never met someone who's kind of on the fence, because you either, one, you get your ass kicked by somebody, and then you're like, this is dumb. The
only thing I hate is that I suck at it. Yeah. And I remember on the N64, I don't want to jump ahead here, but I still couldn't figure it out. I needed somebody in the neighborhood who was good at the game to show me the ropes, and nobody was good at it.
Now, this came out right before the N64, right? They had the Ultra 64.
Yeah, it came out. Yeah, it came out right before it. And they were advertising that this was going to be on this new hardware called the Ultra 64.
Cruising USA.
Cruising USA also.
Yeah,
it had an advertisement. Both those games did. Stating, only available. Do I have the sound clip of that? I may have the sound. No, I don't. I don't have it here. Anyway, but yeah, advertising that was going to be on the new console and this and that. But what's interesting is that it hit the arcades. It was only supposed to be an arcade game, but it went over so well that they did decide to port it out to the Super NES and the Game Boy. And even those ports got really good reviews and were received very, very well. It then even did spawn a sequel to Killer Instinct 2 in the arcades, which also went a port off of that as Killer Instinct Gold that hit the Nintendo 64, which is basically a port of Killer Instinct 2 with some modified play mechanics and some added features like that. But basically, so Killer Instinct's a fighting game. It is heavily based around combos. If you don't know what you're doing, it can be very confusing, but it's button combinations and button presses to perform 12, 13, 14 hit combos, and then something called the Ultra Combo, of course, that we all...
Ultra Combo! That scared the hell out of me. I wasn't expecting.
Sorry, I'm very sorry.
No problem. I'm okay.
I mean, hear that voice? That scared the shit out of me as a kid. I was like, what is going on? You know what I mean? You just have to be reeled in.
So, are you supposed to teach yourself how to play as in the arcade? I don't understand how you would know the Ultra Combo combinations.
And back in the day, that's what we do. We would mess around with button combinations. Some arcades had the bezel around the screen, which told the moves, but the arcade I grew up in did not have it.
Yeah, mine didn't either.
Yeah, so it was a matter of like, I would sit there and watch somebody play, and I'd watch what they're doing with their hands. You know what I mean? I'd watch their hand movements, and then try to, when my turn came, try to do that again and see. But once you figure it out, once you make the connection of this button move does this, it becomes the most amazing game. And I'm telling you, when you pull off a 14-hit combo, or even better yet, an ultra combo, which 30, 40-hit combo, it's mind-blowing and how that feels. I know it sounds weird, but it really does. I mean, Chris, you remember when you first did an ultra combo, you remember how that felt?
Oh, yeah. I think it was Orchid, actually, because hers was, I think it's back forward, medium punch, just real easy. Something you could do on accident, even if you're throwing a combo out. And I just remember being really impressed with it. And I think I got an Ultra done on me by the computer the first time I played, but I was excited to see that even. I thought that was amazing. So
yeah, because you see it and you're like, wow, what the hell just happened? I want to do that. And then you really want to try to dig deeper and find out ways to make that all happen.
Right.
Cool.
Sounds like the combos really differentiate itself from the other fighting games at the time, like Virtual Fighter, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat.
Big time. You know, before this, I mean, there were games that maybe, I can't even think of any off the top of my head that would use, even like little combos here and there. But this was combo driven. I mean, this engine is the way that you play this game. It's all revolving around combos, combo breakers. You can do that to stop the combos that are happening to you. It's just a really unique game style, and I think it's the first of its time. First of its kind, for sure.
So I guess you'd say that you can get nowhere in this game if you just button mash. You have to know the combos to really progress anywhere in this game. I
will say that you can button mash, and I know I've seen a lot of people do it. You can button mash and in most cases figure out like maybe a 3-4, maybe even a 5-hit combo just from just button mashing, and that will work. But if you know the button combinations to perform full combos, you're unstoppable. Unstoppable. You can just counter everything that's going on. Wow. That's why it gets really interesting when you have two players that really know how to play. It is the most intense fighting I've ever seen in a fighting game.
Yeah, if you try to go too long with a combo, they'll usually get the nice combo breaker, which can it's almost bad when you're playing against somebody who knows what they're really doing, because you can't get the long combo going at least and really rub it in their face. But until you get to the ultra at least, then you can do it. But it's kind of tough. Yeah, it's like when you have two people that know what they're doing, then you have to have a different play style. Then you have to try to do like jump ins, or you have to try to do just quick combos so they don't break them. You know what I mean? And just it's really intense and really cool to watch. Definitely intense to play too.
So what was the relationship with Rare and Nintendo Midway? It's kind of interesting. They all kind of had a hand in this. What was their roles in the game?
Midway, they published the game, and Rare designed it. And then, of course, they released it in the arcades and all that. But they coexisted because they designed this one-off hardware. That's what they did, and that's why it's talking about the hardware. I'm going to get into that. Basically, what it is, Killer Instinct, it had the first type of hardware of its kind. What I mean by that, it was the first arcade game ever to incorporate a hard drive, an internal hard drive. Right? It was just a IDE hard drive with ribbon cable and all that, flush mounted right on the side of the cabinet.
So why did they need a hard drive?
Well, basically what they did is they said, okay, games of this time, they use ROM chips. We have the soundboard. But what we want to do with this, we want to take it to the next level. We want it to look different. We want it to play different. We want to have more motion, better graphics, better sound. And there isn't enough room on the ROM chips to do that. We have to put that data somewhere. So what they did is they designed this one-off system to store all the data onto a hard drive. Then it would basically read that and stream it off the hard drive. So what this meant, this allowed it to store so much more data. So it gave it the ability to, do better graphics, have pre-rendered backgrounds and sprites. Basically, they used Silicon graphics, and they designed the backdrops to move depending on where the character was standing. So you've got this, this rendered background that moves. You have chandeliers that are moving. You have fires that's going on that look movie-like. It's very cinematic. And then the players, when they move, so does the backgrounds. This is one of the first games also to incorporate whole 3D like real 3D levels. So like you can fight on top of a building and the whole level would like move around. And I know Virtua Fighter did something very similar to this, but this actually had like it zoomed way out and zoomed. It was very dynamic. The camera angle was extremely dynamic. I mean, you could back the characters all the way up to each end of the level and it would just zoom all the way out. And so they looked really, really small. I mean, that was just even something like that just blew my mind. You know what I mean? You could like throw things or, you know, shoot fireballs at each other and you could watch it just take forever to go across the screen. It was nuts. The game was really, really ahead of its time. And that was some of the interesting things about the hardware. It also used the DCS sound system, 4 channels of mono audio, which, of course, if anyone who's played the game know that the sound is incredible on that game. So basically, they stored all the data on the hard drive and they were able to do more with the game. Because of that, no other game was able to do at the time.
Yeah,
what Killer Instinct was capable.
It really stood out.
Yeah,
it wasn't just like, oh, it's another fighting game. There were so many other fighting games at that point. But you walked into the arcade and you went, "What the hell is this? It looks so good." The characters looked. I hate to, people will look back on it now and go, "Well, you're crazy for saying this," but at the time they looked realistic. They looked real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the thing that just blew my mind when I saw it. The animations are so realistic, and on top of having these levels that actually were alive, they looked alive. You know what I mean? Yeah. It blew my mind. It was everything you wanted in a game. Everything you wanted. It just really had it. And for fighting, especially fighting games, are so popular at that time, That was just mind blowing.
As long as you had the skill to play it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you one of the other guys? Like I was one of the other guys who was just getting killed all the time. Honestly.
Yeah, and so just to conclude on the hardware issue there, I'm talking about the game uses a hard drive, and as we all know, what do hard drives usually do, right? They're like ticking time bombs. Hard drives do die. Everyone will die in a matter of time. Moving parts and electronics, it's just inevitable. So the thing with Killer Instinct is that it did use a hard drive, so it did go out. They did die, and when the hard drive went, whether the cabinet was good, perfect condition, in a working arcade, whether the EPROMs were good, the soundboard was good, the controls were all working, if the hard drive went, the game was done. The game was done. So they would have to go through the hassle to contact Midway and get a replacement hard drive sent out, which they did. They did send out tons of them. But as the decline in popularity of the arcades in the late 90s started to happen, Midway started to stop even supporting the game. They stopped selling parts. They stopped selling the manuals. They stopped. I mean, you guys know how it went. They just stopped doing arcades in general. They just got rid of them all. So what happens to the people who have these machines with no hard drives or dead hard drives? This is the cool point I want to make. Lovers of the game and in the community, what they have done is people have taken good hard drives and they have pulled the data off of them. They have stored the data, and what they've done is they have transferred that data to flash drives. So what you can do is they even sell them on eBay. You can get them. You can do a Google search and even find these. I have these both in both of my machines here. What they are is they're compact flash drives with a compact flash to IDE hard drive adapter, and you plug it in. You have to put in a different EPROM, a different boot EPROM, so that it recognizes that it's booting not from a hard drive but from a flash drive. Something with coding on how it boots, something like that. But you install that. Install a flash drive, and there you go. You're up and running. You don't have to use your hard drive ever again. It just boots it all off and reads it all off of that flash drive. And of course, you guys know compact flash drives. It's non-movable parts. It's instant access. There's no load time, no read time. And as far as I'm concerned, flash memory, that can last a really long time, if not forever. So it's a really, really cool thing that the community has done. So that's the last little thing I wanted to mention on there. Pretty cool. So longevity, and keeps the game running for as long as the other parts are gonna stay alive. Pretty cool.
So could you tell me, what is Killer Instinct Gold? Because I'm not too familiar. Is that a port of Killer Instinct 1 just with better graphics? What is this?
Well, okay, so Killer Instinct, let's just do just a brief history of it. So Killer Instinct 1 released in the arcades. They were advertising that was going to be on the Nintendo 64 when that came out. Nintendo 64 came out, no Killer Instinct was announced. People were clamoring. They were wondering, what in the hell is going on? Where's our Killer Instinct? They couldn't get it. They couldn't get the game working in time. So what they did is they ported Killer Instinct to the Super NES. Okay, and it's a fantastic port. It got great reviews, like 8s and 9s Even the pro reviewers gave them 8s and 9s. Whether that means anything or not these days, right? But they gave it all very good reviews, great reception. It's actually in the top 200 games for the Super NES. I think it's like 160 or something. So it's definitely up there. So it got ported.
The graphics are obviously downgraded.
That's the thing is, if you compare it, it really suffers. And
Yeah.
I still thoroughly enjoy it. I know a lot of people do. The game still sells very well, but I mean, they had to compress so much to fit it on that cartridge. They had to get rid of stereo sound. They only have one channel mono. They had to cut majority of the sounds, like Ultra Combo. He just says Ultra. You know what I mean? Like it really lacks, and the characters are a lot smaller. Animations aren't there really anymore.
Background renderings.
Background rendering is completely gone. They're just static. Static.
The Game Boy's even worse.
The Game Boy is even worse, even though it did still get good reviews, and a lot of people still are trying to find that game. It's still a good seller, but yeah, I mean it unfortunately it had to be scaled down. It's the problem with them doing such advanced hardware in the arcade. Even for arcades, this was mind-blowing in the arcades.
Mm-hmm.
No one was doing this. So to port it on a console, I mean, I honestly think they should have just left it out on the Super NES and just gone straight to 64 with it, but they never did. They were just trying to cash in. You know what I mean? It was really popular right there.
Yeah,
I was a little disappointed myself, really. I can't lie. I even actually, my friend helped me out on this. He was being a real jerk in front of my parents, and I was saying, Mom, I'd really need a Super Nintendo to play this game, and he was like, well, my mom's going to buy me one. He was just being a real jerk the whole ride in the car, and my mom stopped at Walmart, and we got the Killer Instinct Super Nintendo bundle.
Yeah.
Which was great, but I mean, I was very happy and very grateful, of course. But when I turned it on, I can't lie, I was a little like, oh man, this isn't quite the same, but at least I got it at the house, you know?
Yeah, at least
You got
it's something.
something. Yeah.
When did
Yeah.
it come out when did it port over to the Super Nintendo? What year was that?
Let's see, when did that come out? It came out.
I want to say 95, but I'm guessing, really.
I remember the black cartridge, though. I remember it would be cool. Like, I'm like, that's cool. It's a black cart.
Yeah, I don't have the exact date there, John, but I know it was somewhere around
Somewhere
that.
around 95.
Yeah, 95.
Yeah,
Somewhere around
my
there.
site actually shows released in 95, so I assume I got that from somewhere. So
Okay.
Well,
okay.
another
Yeah.
possible reason Nintendo released it for the Super Nintendo is because more people owned a Super Nintendo back then. Because
Right,
the 64, I don't think even was released, or it was still new.
Yeah, it wasn't
New to
out. It
market.
wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's the thing is that, again, they wanted to cash in on it. I mean, they did a whole bundle. I mean, obviously, Chris, you got that bundle.
Right.
They did do that to try to help promote it and all that. But getting back to your question, I haven't forgot about it. What it is. So then it got real popular. They released Killer Instinct 2 in the arcades, which came out to mixed reviews. And I'll be honest on that one, it didn't do as well as the first one. I'll just say that. I think by that time, this was 96. And I think by this time, arcades were taking a different turn. I know the racing games were really coming up in popularity, and there were just a lot of different other options out there to play. And the game was a bit more confusing to figure out. Just right off top of the bat. I mean, it was completely different. It still used combo theory and all that, but there was like so much more involved. And I think people just didn't really want to put the time in to figure that out, especially for like a quick hit arcade game. Like, I think Killer Instinct was perfect with, how much knowledge you needed to know to play the game. And then once you figured it out, you're good. But really, it was kind of for the diehard fans, this Killer Instinct 2, I think. But it still came out and is a great game. But what happened from there is that they ported that to the Nintendo 64 and they called it Killer Instinct Gold. So what it is, Pete, it's a port of Killer Instinct 2 for the arcade with some enhanced fighting play mechanics and some added features like practice. They featured a training mode because, see, that's the thing. In the arcade, it was just too difficult. Nobody was playing the damn thing. So they're like, okay, we have to put in training. It shows you the moves. You can go and practice. And it actually, it registers and shows every button press you do on the screen. So you can do something and you can see exactly what you're pressing and what you're doing to really figure it out. It's actually really interesting.
How's it graphically? Is it pretty true to the arcade?
It actually looks really good. I'm impressed
Yeah.
with it. I mean, Chris, would you agree with me on that one?
Oh yeah, I would really, after seeing that, I really wish they had just waited the extra year or so and put Killer Instinct 1 out. I always kind of hoped for or not necessarily a remake, but a report, I guess, over to that. I think that would have been really nice. It came out I'd say almost spot on, but they didn't have the FMVs though. So.
Yeah, you're right. Other
That's
than
right.
that, though, I would say the game is damn near arcade perfect. I agree with you. I wish they would have waited, because I think we would have had almost a perfect port of KI1 on the 64 if they would have waited after seeing KI Gold. But you know what? I can't recommend this game enough for everyone out there to get Killer Instinct Gold. And Pete, I have a feeling you're kind of interested.
I've played the first Killer Instinct a long time ago at a friend's house, and I remember playing it and not knowing, what the hell to do. I didn't know about the combos. I don't even think my friends knew about the combo system. Right. So I tried it out and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. The graphics look great. But then I just kind of dropped it off and never played it again. So would you say that going with Killer Instinct Gold is not a bad decision, or should I try and just go with Killer Instinct 1 first?
Oh, yeah, that's kind of tough. Here's the thing. I think the Nintendo 64 controller works perfect for Killer Instinct. Reason being, you know how fighters are. They are 3 buttons. Usually, this game works, what is it? Quick, medium, and fierce punches is a top row, and the same for the bottom, but that's kick. So 3 and 3, right?
Right.
The 64 controller is perfect because it has 3 and 3. Yeah, A and B are a bit bigger, the buttons themselves, but it's laid out perfectly for this game. So, I would say you'd be okay going with Killer Instinct Gold. Really? I think that's going to be your best representation of the game, but...
Well, I mean, Killer Instinct 1 is like super cheap now anyway, so I'm sure I can get that without many problems.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wouldn't hurt. I mean, just know what you're getting into. It's nothing like the awesome, amazing arcade experience, For sure.
Okay, I got a question. So I remember I walked into my Blockbuster video just after Killer Instinct came out on the Super Nintendo, and they were giving away for free the Killer Instinct Killer Cut CD. Now, we all remember that. Now, here's my question. Was that... I listened... We talked about this, Jason, that we love that CD. I love that CD. But the one thing, I wasn't a big Killer Instinct fan of the game. Was that music from the first game? Or was that a reimagined music? I always thought it was reimagined music, but I don't know.
Here's what it is. For the initial release of the game, they packed in the Killer Cut CD for free. I'm not sure the number of how many were made or how many were released or how long it was out there, but I do know that for the initial push, limited quantities of this were available if you bought the game new. And what it is, it's a disc called Killer Cuts. As Johnny, you mentioned, it's basically 15 or 16 tracks of music that's made that is also in the game. Some tracks from the levels in the game, but there's also music that's kind of been remixed or extended that is not in the game. So like the intro, like this, let's see, what is it like? This KI Feeling, right? The one that we love here.
The classic song, yeah.
Like this song is in the game, but this version is not in the game. Okay.
Okay. Does it have the lyrics then?
Yeah, this does. Like, I could listen to it all day long.
Oh yeah, easily. So that the lyrics of that song are actually in the game. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and they have all different kinds of stuff going on with the music. Yeah, it was definitely cool to have.
I remember reserving a copy at Toys R Us back in the day for the Super Nintendo, and I got a T-shirt, Killer Instinct T-shirt, but it was like airtight saran, like it was like shrunken down to a brick, and I still had. Do you know, Chris? Remember that?
Actually, I don't think I've ever seen that, really. I wish I would have known.
It's really cool. It's like a brick. It's like airtight, and they vacuum sealed it. I still have it, and I haven't opened it.
So now we know the origins, Jason.
I've got one.
You have one? Yeah.
Yeah,
I must have missed out on that.
I got sent one from some special people. I'm talking about Pete. He sent me one like 6 months ago.
Well, you also... now, Jason, I have to ask you a few questions. I hate to interrupt here, but...
No, please do. I'm sick of talking.
Okay, well, I have noticed from your video, you have the Killer Instinct 1 arcade and the Killer Instinct 2 arcade.
Correct.
Now, you're saying you're moving here. Do you live upstairs, or do you have just a one-story?
Yeah,
okay.
One story.
I wanted to know the magic you went through to get that thing upstairs, because I've been, it's pretty sad to say I run the Killer Instinct fan site. I do not have an arcade game, and I've always wanted one. And I've told my wife as soon as we bought a house, I would get one, and she was like, that's fine as long as we have space. I know it weighs, I think I've checked the weight, 390 something pounds, I think. It's unreal. So, and I'm thinking, I have a straight staircase, but I'm pretty sure the handrail would have to come off. It probably wouldn't get to the door frame in my little hangout room up here.
They're pretty wide caps.
Yeah, those midway caps are wide. Typically, I don't know anything about, moving these things. God, do I ever. What you have to do is they won't fit through a standard door. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to take off the control panel. And on midway cabinets, if you look straight at it, you remember the control panel is wider than the actual cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So basically you lift up the control panel and it has 2 bolts. You undo the bolt and then you have to unhook all the wiring on it. And then the control panel comes completely off. And then you can slide it straight in through a door. But yeah, you have to disassemble it to get it in through a door. It's a big pain.
Poor design for us. I mean, to not be able to go through a door.
Yeah, when they were making these, they were like, people are not going to put these in their homes. What the hell? Are you kidding me? Yeah, we are.
What's
Absolutely.
one cost? Like if you wanted a KI1 cabinet, KI2, what would it cost nowadays if you wanted a cabinet?
I'm watching the prices of these arcade cabs, and you're probably watching too, Chris, every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
They're going up and up. They're just getting more and more expensive. They're just becoming really. Here's the good pun. They're just becoming really rare. Look at me.
Ultra combo. You needed that to go there.
Well, I could put it. I have room in my garage, but I'm in San Antonio, Texas, or just outside of San Antonio, and it's extremely hot. I have a feeling it wouldn't last very long in there. So
yeah, well, it's better than it being wet and a lot of moisture around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's actually the heat is actually. I don't know how good that is, but it's better than having it be.
I think you'll be okay. I mean, living in Phoenix, I have a Neo Geo cabinet in my garage, and I don't have any issues with it, to be honest with you. I don't want to play it in the summertime because it's so fucking hot in the garage, but it doesn't. I don't have any issues with it, like burning up or getting too overheating or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to. I've been watching a few of them on Craigslist, and I found a great deal not too long ago. I found one that was almost in brand new condition for $600. I don't know why he was getting rid of it so cheap.
That's a good deal. Yeah, that's a good deal.
Yeah,
go for it.
They're at least double that.
$1,200.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna easily drop $1,000 easy just for the game. Probably $1,200 or $1,300 just for the game, and then easy $300 or $400 to ship it.
And how about the second one, the sequel? Is that?
It's right around the same. Yeah, maybe a little bit less, but it's right around the same.
Wow.
Yeah, I got real lucky with mine. I found a guy who was selling just the Killer Instinct by itself, and I didn't even know he had the second one, but I bought it off him, and I was gonna have it shipped out, and he's like, I got the second one, and I go, no, I really want the first one. I mean, that was what I found, hair growing on my balls. That game did it. That was it. I want that one, and he goes, well, I'm moving. I'll really cut you a good deal. Do you want it? And I said, look, I'm not here to insult you. I don't want to make an offer that you know what I mean? I'm not here to insult the guy, because I could lowball him, but that's not how I do business. I'm just whatever. I'm not really interested. I mean, I am interested, but not really, right? See, because the thing is, I know what the game's worth. That's the difference between some Joe Blow who has no idea. I know what the game's worth, so I didn't want to lowball him. So he goes, just make me an offer. And I go, okay, whatever. I go, $200.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And I'm like, look, I don't want to insult you. I'm sorry, but I can't. I'm already paying out the ass to get this game here.
How much was the first one?
I paid $900 for it.
Wow,
it's okay.
And it's immaculate. It's immaculate. It's mint condition. Of course, I went through the entire cabinet as it is and replaced everything that needed to be. I got LED backlights in it. I went through and I installed a 12-inch subwoofer in it. I have speakers. I have a control panel. I rewired the whole thing.
Subwoofer.
So when you play that thing in your house, that you can hear that and
amazing.
Feel that whole house.
Dude, someday I'm gonna do a video and I'm gonna show you guys. It's incredible. I put a Logitech surround system on it. It's nuts, but it's beautiful. So the guy goes, deal, and I thought he was joking. So basically, all I had to pay was $200, and even the freight company, they cut you slack if you do multiple. So
nice.
they cut me a deal on the shipping, and I made out pretty well with it.
2 for 1 almost.
Yeah, he basically just gave it to me.
My God. Well, I'm extremely jealous.
The board itself sells for $300.
They call that an ultra combo.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is right there.
So I got a question. You got Chris, you're big on the forums there. Is there any rumors? Like, is there ever going to be a Killer Instinct sequel or like a HD remix?
Well, that's a great question, but really, if I had to choose between one or the other, I'd prefer honestly just make an HD. Just go through the games and make the graphics a little better, and leave the gameplay as it is, and maybe add online play over, say, Xbox Live Arcade or something like that. I would prefer that, because I think if they tried to go through and make a sequel now, I think a lot of the guys who are originally on the team with Rare are gone now, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not real sure on that, but I just kind of feeling that it's going to be. I think it'll lose a lot of the magic it had back then, for me at least. But as far as there being any rumors, I've read tons of rumors. I mean, just it seems like every year something comes out where there's a hint that it could be coming, and the new Rare boss will say, "Oh yes, we want to do it one day," but still, unfortunately, nothing has come of it.
Yeah, they go back and forth between one day they say they're kind of hinting at it, and then we see like in what's that a game for Kinect, and even in some of the old games that Rare did, like there's some hints of Killer Instinct in their stuff. It's like, God, it really makes you wonder, and I'm just reading this now. This is on the Wikipedia page, so take it for what it is. But they're saying here they did an interview on OneUp.com with the Rare studio manager, who is Mark Betteridge, and he revealed, it says, that Rare would like to bring Killer Instinct to Xbox Live Arcade. Okay, and then right below it, it says on March 16th, 2010. Ken Lobb from Rare announced that they are not working on Killer Instinct 3, but that they may bring Killer Instinct back someday.
And
then it's just like Shenmue.
It's just like back and forth, right? And then the next sentence here, July 25th, about some months later, the same year, Ken Lobb said that Rare wants to make Killer Instinct 3. So they're going back and forth.
You know what Rare should do? They should do what Capcom did and tell the fans to pick characters and all that good stuff, customize everything, and last minute just back out of the whole thing.
That would be terrible.
That would be terrible.
It's just
terrible.
Hopefully they don't pull a Capcom and start working on the game and take fan submissions of character art and everything and then just cancel.
That's what he's saying. Yeah,
that's what I just said. Broken record. Jeez.
Thanks for listening to him.
I was looking up killerinstinct3.com to see if that domain was available, because I was going to tell Chris that you should register it today. But
I've been looking at. I think
apparently some site already took it.
Let me look at that.
Get yourself Call of Duty 10.
Call of Duty 10.
That's terrible right there.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The game is an older game now, but it still has such an amazing following.
It has quite a legacy. You know what I mean? And a lot of fans, a lot of people are still interested in it.
Who owns it? I mean, so Rare obviously owns the rights to Killer Instinct franchise still, because I know Nintendo had some kind of. How's that work with Nintendo being in the picture?
Do you know on that, Jason? I think Rare does own it, but Microsoft now owns Rare, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So I think they could release it if they'd like, but I have a feeling it would be 360 only at that point. But
yeah, it would definitely be a 360 only. That's basically it, Chris. That's about what I know too. I know that Microsoft does own Rare. They own. I don't know. Now this is really touchy because I don't know what parts of quote unquote the Killer Instinct franchise they own. I don't know if they own the name. I don't know if they own the characters. I don't know if they own just like the hardware, or the developing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I've never been able to find out. I've Googled a bunch of times. I've asked people who might know, and they say they don't really know. So
yeah, nobody seems to know. It's kind of this like hidden mystery.
They just reverse it, call it Eller Kinstinct or something like that. Be perfect.
That's terrible.
That's terrible.
That's terrible.
So yeah, trying to think of what else. I mean, it's a fantastic game. I think it's for its time. It was the cream of the crop in fighting. It introduced a new way to play. The combo engine's fantastic. The sound is over the top and amazing. A really great move on Nintendo and Midway back then, just ruling everything that was coming out.
Yeah, I loved any game that came out in that cabinet that looked just the same as the Mortal Kombat ones. I always gave it a shot at least. Even
Absolutely.
War Gods, even though that wasn't that great.
Oh God,
I might upset people on that, but I didn't really care for it. I mean, I bought it when it came out on Nintendo 64 and all that, but it did not have the same magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely something about those midway cabinets, just standing in front of them, and I don't know, just something about them really, I don't know. I can't explain it. You know what I mean?
It's sad that now all they do is casino, like slot machines.
Yeah.
It's really sad what they become as a company.
Is that what they do with the company now?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, you think about it though, it's all about money. Again, you know, when the arcades died, they're like, we gotta figure something out.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
But that gives us an opportunity to collect them, which we do because we're crazy and we like moving big pieces of heavy furniture everywhere.
Yeah, good luck with that move. I had to ask you once I realized you were moving. I was thinking I need to know the way you get this thing around.
Yeah, I thought you were flying in to help me.
Yeah.
Maybe if you want to, I could fly in and drive it back to my house if you want.
Yeah.
I could do that.
I'll cut you a real good deal. Yeah, no, they're not going anywhere.
200.
So what's the future for the site, Chris? Are you just going to kind of maintain it as is, or any ideas?
I would like to maybe get an upgrade or update the look at least sometime soon. It really depends on when I can sit down and actually put the time into it, and hopefully, it sounds terrible, maybe if I can get some more help from the community. But unfortunately, it seems like the Killer Instinct interest or the community kind of comes in waves. It's like people are interested all at once, all of a sudden, and we get a lot of activity, and then it starts to slow down, and we get maybe just a month of just slow. Get a spam bot come in and throw a post in every now and then that I have to get rid of. And I think right now I'm at a slow point, unfortunately. So I'm hoping this will bring new people to the site and the forum. And please feel free to come in and post and, introduce yourself. Maybe even if you want, you could say where you heard about the site. And I'd be glad to say hi to everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's a great opportunity for all of us, and especially people who aren't knowing or want to get involved with, such a great game like this. And I think you have a great site. It's a great resource. You can learn a lot. You can get all the move lists. You can get all the information on the characters. You can see pics and hear sounds. And it's just a great resource for anyone who's interested in this great fighting game. And Chris, you got a great thing going on over there. We're glad to have you on the show, and hope everything works out with everything that you do in the future for it. So.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. I was really excited to be on anyway. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I've never actually been on one, so this was really nice, and it's a good opportunity to let everybody know about the site since I really have no way of advertising it, so this has been great.
Yeah, so everyone go on, get involved in the forums over there, Let's get involved.
Let's check it out.
Come say hi.
Awesome.
Oh, come on, you got to end with a cool Killer Instinct sound.
Yeah, and if anybody is looking for the sounds, they are on my site. I was very excited to get those. I don't remember who exactly sent them to me, but it was very hard to actually get the announcer voice without any sound behind it. I still, to this day, don't know how somebody got that. I don't know if maybe they had some way
ripped
to...
it right out of the game, or,
what these dudes are doing is they actually taking the data off the hard drive and actually, they're somehow hacking it or something to get just the voices. It's crazy. I don't know how they're doing it either, but I'm very happy because we can do cool stuff like
Winner! Fight on.
Yeah.
It's such an angry announcer, eh? Why can't he be happier?
Killer combo!
Killer combo, guys!
Humiliation.
Well, Chris, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Well, thank you very much.
And Chris, your website one more time is killerinstinctonline.net.
Yes, killerinstinctonline.net. I will try to... I've been offered to buy .com, but it's $500, so I can't do that. So hopefully people can remember that, and I'll probably link to your podcast actually on the main page, so hopefully we can share some users here.
Yeah,
Perfect.
definitely. Sounds great. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Chris.
take care.
All right, thanks again. Thank you.
Perfect.
Well, that's pretty messed up that somebody would take killerinstinctonline.com. Like, how does that work?
I have no
How are they
idea. It's
offering
some
to sell
site.
it to you for $500?
Oh,
It's some website that keeps Intrust Domains keeps sending me emails about it, and I thought they wanted to sell it to me cheap, so I was thinking, well, I can do that. And they said they had a discount for me, which was $5 off, making it $4.95.
What a bunch of assholes.
Yeah, well, actually, it wasn't even a full $5 off then, so I there's no way. I get that email probably every week, too, and I wish I could do it, but I figure if I'm going to spend some money, I might try to get killerinstinct.com, so
right.
That would be better.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, that was cool. That was a lot of Killer Instinct talk. I hope I didn't talk a whole lot,
No,
but I think I did.
I'm sick of hearing you talk, dude. Sick of hearing it.
I never talk.
It's time for Pete to talk now. Pete's going to talk for 1 hour straight. I will listen.
So, Killer Instinct, the combo system. No, okay, go ahead, Jason.
That was good though. I'm really happy we did that.
For sure. Jason, that was your episode for sure. Because
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think it was cool. I love the game, and I've always loved the game, and I hope a lot of people take interest in it and check it out on the Super Nintendo. Check it out on the 64. It's called Killer Instinct Gold.
And the Game Boy.
Yeah, and
I was actually just watching a playthrough on YouTube, and the Game Boy version, honestly, it looks pretty damn impressive.
Yeah,
for a Game Boy version.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Kind of makes you wish they'd release an NES version because the Game Boy and NES are essentially the same 8-bit, you know?
They could have done it. It would have been, just that with color.
It was just with color.
Could have done it. But we had our Street Fighter 2011 or whatever. That was
Yeah,
a great game.
That's an action game.
I think the only fighting game for the NES is the Turtles one. Tournament Fighters. That's the only- that's the
no,
only-
there was some other one. Oh,
There's
God.
like a-
Was it something like Flying Dragon something or other?
for
You're
fighting.
talking about an actual
fighting.
Like we're talking NES.
NES
yes,
fighting,
old
like
school
Street
NES.
Fighter type. Okay.
Google it real quick.
Don't tell me what to do in my own
Tell you what to
goddamn
do,
house.
fool.
I don't know what to do for crying out
God,
loud.
you're telling me? Shit.
Probably because I think the Turtles one it's fairly hard game to come by. The tournament, one of the later games released.
All right, here's a list we got here. Kabuki, Quantum Fighter, Kung Fu Heroes, Bad Street Brawler, Karate Champ, Fist of the North Star, Burai Fighter, Image Fight, Power Punch 2, Metal Fighter, Street Fighter 2010, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighter, Fatal Fury Special, Fist of the North Star.
On the NES?
And the NES.
This is all
According
NES.
to this website,
Fatal Fury
Games,
Special never came out on the NES.
JTGames.com.
I'm looking at the same thing, yeah.
Kung Fu Heroes.
Oh, bullshit.
Bad Street Brawlers.
Yeah, but you
Those
know what
aren't
these are?
fighters.
These are all side-scrolling
Those
fighters.
are beat 'em ups. Yeah,
These are beat 'em
Oh,
ups.
bullshit. It's
Okay.
bullshit. All of it.
We're talking one-on-one fighters
one-on-one
here.
Yeah.
fighters.
Well, that's what this list
Street
gave me.
Fighter 2010, the final fight. That's a
Yeah,
beat 'em
I
up.
don't know.
That's like a final fight beat 'em up.
Bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Bullshit.
Shit.
Anyway, maybe our listeners will know. And they can post
Yeah,
in the
they can
forums.
put them in the forums.
Yeah. They'll tell us we're bullshit, and they'd be right.
Good Killer Instinct talk, though.
Combo breaker.
Awesome. Jason, you'd be hilarious, dude. Do like a prank call and only use those sound bits and call someone and just try to make a conversation.
Oh, God. I guess it's, yeah. Sorry, I'm not going to say it.
They were like, hello.
Welcome.
Who's this?
Who is this?
Get it on.
You got knocked the fuck out.
I think that concludes episode 53?
I thought that was 98, episode 98.
Hey, we're going to be there sooner or later.
Yeah. Probably
We're
later.
going to be all gray hair, old.
Hey,
in our
what
walkers,
episode are
but
we
we'll
on?
be there. So
Remember
this
Game
concludes part one. Thanks for being here.
Part 2, we're going to have another guest.
Yeah.
Which we're actually going to start recording in a little bit here.
Yeah.
Yep. So thank you. We love you, and we'll be here waiting.
Love you guys.
Totally nude.
Totally nude. Combo breaker. I was just thinking, if you had
Combo breaker.
exactly. Wouldn't that be crazy? You're having sex with this girl, and then you stick it in her pooper, and it goes combo breaker.
Breaker.
It's like, what the fuck?
Ultimate combo.
And then you have humiliation.
Humiliation.
Danger.
Then when you get done,
Time out.
I like the danger.
Danger. Danger.
oh, it's just foul. It's just so foul.
Look at the perverts.
Okay, see you later. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Bye.
We're out of here. We're out like trout.
And you should end that show, Jason, with your Killer Instinct remix at the end.
Oh, good idea.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And we will leave you then now with the Killer Instinct remix that I produced in 2010 for my review of Killer Instinct that can be found on my channel, the Emulator Review, right on YouTube. And if you want to download this song, it's absolutely free. Giving it away. I made a dedicated video just to promote the song, and the link is in the description. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later. Good call, Pete. See you later.
Welcome, Killer Instinct. Deep Thunder. Cinder. Fulgor. Glacius. Dago. over.